How's it going, folks? Keith here from Command the Hoop Celtic. So today I'm going to be talking about managers that are linked with the club. Are we going to get a new manager in at the end of the season, or is Lennon going to take the job permanently? So there's been a lot of speculation over the last couple of weeks. A lot of people are getting frustrated that we're drawing at home to Livingston, where we could have been a stepping stone towards the league. I know we got a point. It's not the worst, but we should be Livingston at home with the squad we have, especially the investment there as well. So, and especially drawing as well to Aberdeen as well in recent games. So there's a lot of fresh concerns, a bit worrying, especially going into this game on Sunday against Aberdeen. So especially in Hampden. So I'm at the right now. A few players, managers, kind of people that have been around the game a long time that be candidates for the Celtic job. So first of all, Rafa Benitez. I think Rafa would be an ideal candidate. The reason why, because he's won 4 European trophies. He's won 2 trophies in Italy as well. He spells at Inter Milan and Napoli as well. Won the Champions League with Liverpool 2005. Won the UEFA Cup with Valencia, La Liga with Valencia as well, in an incredible season, knocking Barcelona and Real Madrid off the perch there for them 2 seasons. And then he's also won trophies with Chelsea, the Europa League, when he was an interim manager. So it's an interesting one. I think Rafa would be ideal. Like Rafa, on paper, Rafa has the best CV of all the candidates. Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Valencia, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, Napoli. Like, that just proves it. And he's also won the championship as well with Newcastle. Understand you had the squad there to win it, but it's still a hard league. It's probably one of the hardest leagues in the world. It's so unpredictable. But you can bring a lot of freshness. I think with his resources being a big name in world football, he would attract good players to Celtic, especially for the Champions League games. He has the Champions League experience and their Europa League experience, which he done quite well in Europa League in these times. He's not getting the funds that he should be getting at Newcastle, so it's all down to Celtic if they're going to willing to invest and give him the right players, squad players he needs, because there is going to be a clear out in the summer with Celtic regardless who comes in. The likes of Boyata, might be going to hurt to Berlin. A few people's contracts are up as well, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But I'd like to see Rafa come. I think, as I said, with the Premier League experience, Champions League experience, it'd be good to have him at the helm. I think he'd be quite good to have there, like real good manager as well. So like didn't really work out well at Real Madrid. He took the Real Madrid job back in, I think it would have been 2012 before Ancelotti took it, but didn't work out well for him there. But it'd be interesting to see how he gets on, if he does get the job, if he gets even interviewed for the job. So that's one there as well. The next one, Steve Clarke, currently manager at Kilmarnock, doing a quite good job there. He had Kilmarnock pushing for the league in December. They kind of slipped. They did a few injuries and a few awful results, but this is a man that has learned his trade as assistant manager for about a decade in English football. So he worked under Jose Mourinho at Chelsea as his right hand man. He knew Brendan Rodgers as well through the youth system there at Chelsea, and then also he worked with Kenny Dalglish at Liverpool as well. So I think Clarke has a lot to offer, knowing the league quite well, Scottish man himself. The only disadvantage for Steve Clarke is he's been through a lot in recent times with Scottish football, sectarian abuse by Rangers fans, certain Rangers fans in Ibrox when he brought his team there recently in the Scottish Cup replay. So that's the only downside of that. He'd be cheap to get as well. Cheap to get if Celtic are willing to cooperate and give him the funds to build a team to get to 10 in a row and do well in European football. That's another question to be asked there as well. But he's done well with West Brom. He took West Brom over in 2012 to 13, had a really good season, pushed them on, got really good players in there. He had a brutal time at Reading, but Kilmarnock has kind of boosted his career back up, and he's been really good. Like, but even when the whole Rodgers thing, when Rodgers left the club, he was linked with the job heavily. So never say never with Steve Clarke, but it won't be the worst appointment. Personally, I still think we can do better than him. We can do better, but I'm just going to go by the candidates that will be heavily linked with the club. So Steve Clark's another one. I'll move on to Marco Rose. Like, a lot of people are saying this guy Marco Rose currently managing Red Bull of Salzburg in Austria, in the Austrian Bundesliga. He's done quite well with Red Bull in European pedigree in the Europa Leagues. They're being quite good. They've been getting to knockout stages of the Europa Leagues, playing decent football. We're very familiar with Red Bull Salzburg, playing them in the Europa League group stage where they beat us twice. So the only thing that has Celtic fans thinking this guy Marco Rose, because when he came to Celtic Park to manage his team against us in Europa League, at the end of the game he took a few pictures with the fans, had a scarf on, had the hat on. He doesn't really have anything else in his CV. Like, he was a German footballer from Leipzig. He hasn't really bring honest to that club, like, really much. Like, offer, like, it could be a cheap option, he could be an exciting coach, he does play good football, but I personally don't think, like, he hasn't really has on the CV. I know he started off, he only took his first job 3 years ago, but not enough to do it for me. But he is heavily linked with the Borussia Mönchengladbach job as well in Germany, so we don't know, we might not get him. But personally, if we did get him, it'd be good for your European football standards to get Marco Rose in there, but he'd attract good players from the Austrian Bundesliga, the German Bundesliga. Recruitment system would be probably good as well. He'd probably bring a few players in from, like, Scandinavian, so it just depends on his background team as well. So that's my opinion. Marco Rose, he's, as I said, not the worst. Another one that's been linked with the club is Roberto Martinez. I'm quite excited about this one, to talk about this. Roberto Martinez, good figure in English football. He managed Swansea. He got Swansea promoted from League One into the Championship back in 2009. Then eventually went back to manage Wigan. Played for Wigan back in the 90s. So he won the FA Cup with Wigan. Such an underrated team at the time. Beat the likes of Man City in the final. They had a decent European record as well. When he played in the Europa League, he had the likes of Nick Powell and all in there. So I wouldn't mind Roberto Martinez. He's currently managing the Belgium squad, like, big players there. So he done well with Belgium. He got Belgium to third place in the World Cup last summer. So he's really a big name. And he managed Everton as well. Everton was a kind of touch and go. He done well in his first season. He got them Champions League football, and then that didn't work out for him. But he'd be a good candidate for the for the Celtic job. He will be up there as well. Another one that's been linked again. This guy's been linked previously when Lennon left and Doyle got the job, is David Moyes. A lot of people don't like to talking about this lad, because he had previously played for Celtic in the past. He won a league in 1981 with us, but I don't think he would be a good candidate for us. I know he's a Celtic man true and true, but the football he's played in recent times, like, he took the Manchester United job, left everything to take the Manchester United job. A lot of people say he didn't get enough time, and I agree. I don't think he got enough time, and Manchester United changed around, especially when Fergie taken over for Fergie. Any man that went into that club would have been through the same. But he done a good job at Everton. Never won an honour at Everton. He guided them into the European spots, but they didn't qualify for the Champions League. Villarreal beat them. Awful spells at Sunderland. He got Sunderland relegated. That sticks out there. Didn't even go down. Didn't even take the job to go down to the Championship and push them back up. What Rafa done with Newcastle. Had an awful spell in Spain. Awful spell at Real Sociedad, and wasn't great at West Ham. The only honour he's won as a manager, besides Preston North End, winning them a trophy, is the Community Shield with Manchester United. So a lot of people don't like David Moyes to take it. If David Moyes was to take the job, a lot of people will renew their season tickets as well. So that's what I think about David Moyes. No goes on, not worth the money, not worth the money at all. I don't think he'll do a good job for Celtic. And then the last one would be Neil Lennon, the man that's currently in charge at the moment, the interim manager. Now, what benefits Lennon at getting this job is he's been at the club, he's managed the club before, He's won 3 league titles. He's the manager that started his 10 in a row campaign, 10 in a row singing. He was the man that brought the Thunder back to Parkhead under the difficult times of Tony Mowbray. He was the man that took charge, used the initiative. Last 16 places as well. He done with Celtic. Great. He had great signings in there. A few bad signings as well, but the likes of Wanyama, Ledley, Gary Hooper, Fraser Foster, Ki Sung Young, like these players, like, you know, well, Ki Sung Young was Mowbray, but he got the best out of Ki Sung Young. Disadvantage of Lennon taking it is recent performances, not good standard football. We've dropped that kind of level of football under him, which we have. Like, we grind out good results in the capital against Hibs, Hearts, but it's just like he has changed the formation around the summer, and not the summer in the last game, to 3-5-2, pushing Tierney up, but it still hasn't worked. 0-0 draws at home to Aberdeen, Livingston. Celtic fans find that's not good enough. He did beat Rangers as well, but for him to land the job, what he'll need to do is, obviously, biggest game of his career, his managerial career, on Sunday against Aberdeen in the semi-finals. He needs to win this treble to have a chance of even being in the running of this job, because I have a feeling deep down inside Celtic have been recruiting, looking at these other candidates that I've mentioned, maybe even different more candidates that we might not even know of, but he needs to beat Rangers and Ibrox, wrap this league up against Hibs, which he managed at Hibs and managed at Bolton, so he has a bit of CV work there. When he left the Celtic job, it wasn't just a fault. He done a brutal job at Bolton, but a great job with Hibs, gotten Hibs back into the SPLFL. So he'll have to deliver the treble to have a chance of doing this and starting to get more goals scored and more performances, because it has been lackluster performances. It's not like people say, fair enough, losing a game is hard, but when you're drawn and you're being frustrated, you're having average between 12 to 15 shots, like grinding results. We're top of the league. We should be beating these teams comfortably, maybe 3 or 4-0, not being drawn 0-0. But that's his only chance of getting the job if he delivers the treble. Don't get wrong, I love Neil Lennon. I love him to bits. Before it even came in, when it was announced, I thought this would be exciting times, but has kind of dropped that gear's dropped to the standards that it should be benchmark, especially left with Brendan leaving. He should have kept it. The heritage of that team, had them playing the same football, but it's not always just the manager, it's the players as well, but it's not working out at the moment. But I wish him the best on Sunday. I hope he does deliver the treble and he's in Canada, but he needs to get the finger out and get these players playing better football. If I was Celtic, if I was Celtic and if I was to pick a man to get the job, it would be Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe would be ideal. Young, enthusiastic, done a great job with Bournemouth, getting them into the Premier League. They're a stable side. They've had good players. Not a big budget they haven't had in recent years, so I think Eddie Howe would be the ideal man for the Celtic job. I understand he has no European experience, but he'd be good to take it if he was ever linked with it. But that's really for me today. Comment below, let me know who you think should take the job. Should Lenny be taking it permanently? Should Rafa get it? Should Roberto Martinez get it? Should Marco Rose get it? A new beginning? Should it be Steve Clark? Would it be Steve Bruce? Would it be David Moyes? There's been a few players. Would you go for Henrik Larsson? Previous managerial experience with Helsingborg and so, but I wouldn't go for Larsson, definitely not. But that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll speak to you all soon. Hail, hail, up the Celts.